So, we will continue our discussion on IC engine. Today we will discuss about carburetor and mixture requirements. So, we have discussed about Otto cycle and SI engine, and we have seen that carburetor is an important integral part of the spark ignition engine, where we need to supply air plus fuel mixture during intake stroke. We have seen that, rather we have discussed, in case of a SI engine, spark ignition engine, what we are doing during intake stroke, instead of supplying only air, we are supplying air fuel mixture during intake stroke, and then we are compressing it, and towards the late of the compression we are igniting the charge, rather air fuel mixture, by switching on the spark plug. So, as compared to CI engine, compression ignition engine, where we do not require carburetor because we are supplying only air during intake stroke, and even for initiating combustion we do not require an external agent like spark plug, what is important for spark ignition engine, but we do not require any external agent for compression ignition engine for initiating combustion, because in case of a CI engine we are utilizing the high pressure and temperature of the high pressure temperature of the air itself to start or to initiate combustion. So, today we will discuss what is carburetor, what is its function, and then mixture requirements. I mean, as I said you that carburetor is a device, that is a mechanical, it is a component or a device which supply air fuel mixture depending upon the requirement of the load of the engine. Sometimes we use a term which is known as stoichiometric air fuel mixture, that is chemically correct air fuel mixture. So, the function of the carburetor is to allow not only air and fuel, rather homogeneous mixture of air fuel, and that will supply required amount of air fuel mixture depending upon the load of the engine. So, today we will discuss about carburetor, and probably we will discuss about the mathematical analysis of carburetor, how carburetor supplying air fuel mixture depending upon the requirement of the load, and also how it allow homogeneous mixture of air fuel mixture. Today we will discuss about carburetor, and which is an important part of SI engine. So, we are having, instead of supplying only air, suppose this is carburetor C. So, we are having supply of fuel and supply of air. So, this is air, this is fuel, and we are having in a carburetor air plus fuel, and then it is coming to the internal combustion engine. Just I am drawing the schematic because this will be required. So, we are supplying so this is top dead center, this is bottom dead center, so this is exhaust, rather exhaust manifold, and piston will, this is the piston. So, this is piston, this is engine cylinder, and this is exhaust manifold, this is intake manifold, and we are having spark plug. So, this is spark plug, right. Of course, we are having one valve over here, intake and exhaust valve, and very importantly we are having one throttle valve over here. So, this is throttle valve which control the air fuel mixture to be introduced into the engine cylinder. So, this is all about the we have drawn this schematic while we have discussed about the nomenclature of SI engine, but still today we are drawing. So, the function of the carburetor is, what is the function of carburetor and throttle valve? Throttle valve is very important because it throttle the amount of it function is to provide, rather to control the air fuel mixture to be supplied into the cylinder depending upon the load, and carburetor, where carburetor function of the carburetor is allows the mixture of air and fuel before introducing. So, the function of carburetor, this is very important, function of carburetor. Number 1, it allows mix, this carburetor is allows to mix the air and fuel before introducing into the cylinder, before into the cylinder. Number 2, produces air fuel mixture, this produces air fuel mixture, that is air plus fuel mixture, that is homogeneous, rather produces homogeneous mixture of air fuel and as depending air fuel mixture as requirement, whereas throttle valve to control. So, this is produces homogeneous air fuel mixture as requirement by the engine. So, this is the carburetor, while throttle valve, that is also important. So, function of throttle valve is to supply or to provide is provided. So, function is, this throttle valve is provided, right, to control the air fuel mixture, to control the air fuel mixture, to control the air fuel mixture. Throttle valve is provided to control the air fuel mixture depending upon the load to be supplied in the cylinder depending upon the load. So, carburetor and throttle valve, these are important parts of a spark ignition engine. That is what we have discussed. The carburetor function is allows to mix the air fuel mixture to be before introducing into the cylinder. Not only air fuel mixture, it allows to mix, and rather it produces homogeneous mixture of air fuel as recommended by the engine, while throttle valve is provided only to control the air fuel mixture to be supplied into the cylinder depending upon the requirement or load. Fine. Now, before I go to discuss about the other function of the other carburetor and how so we have discussed about the function of carburetor, but we need to know by how carburetor provide requirement of, rather we can, if we need different amount of air fuel mixture depending upon depending upon the loads of the engine, then how carburetor provides that varying air fuel mixture for varying loads, that we need to know, and for that we will do a mathematical analysis considering a simple float type carburetor. But before I go to discuss about this aspect, let us first discuss about that carburetor. I have discussed about the produces homogeneous mixture, air fuel mixture as requirement by the engine. Not only that, sometimes carburetor is used to provide stoichiometric air fuel mixture, that is known as chemically correct air fuel mixture. So, it is not always possible that the carburetor will be provided chemically correct air fuel mixture, but it will be very close to chemically correct air fuel mixture. So, now we need to know what is chemically correct air fuel mixture or what is stoichiometric air fuel mixture. So, before I go to discuss about the parts of the carburetor, what are the different parts of a carburetor and by how it provides air fuel mixture depending upon the load of the engine, rather varying air fuel mixture for varying loads, we need to know that carburetor is provided to supply homogeneous air fuel mixture. Not only that, sometimes it provides stoichiometric air fuel mixture, that is chemically correct air fuel mixture, but it is not fact that always it will provide chemically correct air fuel mixture, but it will try to provide chemically correct, near about chemically correct, very nearer to chemically correct air fuel mixture. So we need to know what is chemically correct air fuel mixture or stoichiometric air fuel ratio. So stoichiometric ratio, what do you mean by that? So stoichiometric ratio is chemically correct air fuel ratio. Stoichiometric ratio is chemically correct air fuel ratio with engine load, chemically correct air fuel ratio, and this chemically correct air fuel ratio which varies with the load of the engine, with the load of the engine. So for a given fuel we can calculate what will be the chemically correct air fuel ratio, but for the efficient combustion we should supply chemically correct air fuel ratio, but depending upon this chemically correct air fuel ratio will vary with the load of the engine. So what, before we go to do so, let us discuss, probably you have discussed that what do we mean by fuel air ratio. Fuel air ratio, or sometimes it is known as air fuel ratio. Fuel air ratio, that is F by A ratio or air fuel ratio, that is A by F. So what do you mean by this? It is very important that so I am writing what is the amount of fuel with respect to 1 kg of air. What is the amount of fuel with respect to 1 kg of air is known as fuel air ratio, or if you would like to define air fuel ratio, so that means what is the amount of air with respect to 1 kg of fuel is the air fuel ratio. So these two, air fuel ratio and fuel ratio, that is the amount of fuel per kg of air or vice versa, that is a chemically correct air fuel, or sorry, that is the air fuel ratio or fuel air ratio. Fine. So now we will discuss how we can, how come I know that chemically correct air fuel ratio will be supplied to the engine, and what will be the chemically correct air fuel ratio for a given fuel. So I need to know how do I calculate the chemically correct air fuel ratio for a given fuel, and for that we will work out an example. So let us consider a fuel having chemical, fuels are normally hydrocarbon. We will discuss one day that fuels are normally family of hydrocarbons, whatever I mean. So depending upon the whether it is used for SI engine or CI engine, normally fuels are a family of hydrocarbons. So let us consider, so if you need to calculate what is the chemically correct air fuel ratio or fuel air ratio, whatever it is, for a given fuel, then how do I calculate it? So for that we will take up an example. So suppose, or let us consider a fuel, let us consider a fuel having chemical formula, C8H18. Let us consider a fuel having chemical formula C8H18, that is, this is known as what? This is a butane. So if it is chemical formula C8H18, that is butane, so if we would like to calculate chemically correct air fuel ratio, that means we need to know the combustion reaction. So, if we now we need to write the combustion reaction from there we can calculate what will be the amount of fuel per kg of air or vice versa. So, if you write chemically combustion reaction for this fuel, combustion reaction for this particular fuel C8H18, this is butane, then how we can write plus oxygen, we are supplying air during combustion. So, oxygen present in the air will take part in the combustion and it will produce carbon dioxide, water vapor, and sometimes carbon monoxide is produced. So, it will produce definitely carbon dioxide plus water vapor. So, if we balance this reaction, I will write that it will be 12.5 O2 is equal to 8 CO2 plus 9 H2O. This is the balance reaction. So, the combustion reaction for this particular fuel having chemical formula is C8H18 butane. So, this is the combustion reaction. From there, so what is the molecular weight of this particular fuel? Then this is 32 and this is 8 into 12 plus 18, that is 114 kg. So, this will be 12.5 into 32 kg. So, from this balanced reaction, combustion reaction, we can write that this gives the amount of air needed to burn 1 kg of fuel. So, this reaction, this combustion reactions, if we balance it, this gives amount of air needed to burn 1 kg of fuel. So, this gives amount of air needed to burn 1 kg of fuel. So, from here how can write? So, I can calculate that what will be the amount of oxygen required to burn per kg of fuel. So, that means from there I can write that 114 kg of fuel requires 12.5 into 32 kg of O2. So, per 1 kg of fuel we requires 12.5 into 32 divided by 114 kg of oxygen. So, this will gives, that is 400 divided by 114, that equal to 3.509 kg of oxygen. So, we can calculate if we use fuel whose chemical formula is C8H18, and if you would like to write the chemically correct air fuel ratio, stoichiometric air fuel ratio, that means if we write the combustion reaction and balance it, then from there balance reaction I can write that if I need to burn 1 kg of fuel, I require 3.509 kg of oxygen, and this oxygen will come up, this amount of oxygen will come from the air that is being supplied during intake stroke through carburetor. So, now because this is the amount of oxygen I need to burn 1 kg of fuel, so this much of oxygen will be obtained from the air we are supplying. So, what will be the amount of air from which I can get this much amount of oxygen, that I need to know. From there only I can calculate what will be the chemically correct air fuel ratio or fuel air ratio. Fine. And for that we need to know something, that what is the amount of oxygen present per kg of air. So, that information is very important. See, 1 kg of air contains 0.232 kg of oxygen. So, if I go back to my previous slide, here we have obtained that this much amount of oxygen is required per kg of to burn per kg of fuel, and this much amount of oxygen will be obtained from the air we are supplying during intake stroke. Here I am writing that if I supply 1 kg of air, then I will get only 0.23 kg of oxygen. That means to obtain 3.509 kg of oxygen, how much air will be required? So, kg of air by kg of fuel, kg of oxygen, kg of fuel will be now. So, we have seen that it is very important that if you would like to burn per kg of fuel, we require 3.509 kg of oxygen. That is what we obtain. So, to burn 1 kg of fuel, that is what we have seen. We fuel, 3.509 kg of oxygen is required. That is what we got obtained from the chemical combustion reaction, that is Barron's reaction. Now this amount of oxygen we will get from the air that is being supplied during intake stroke, and for that we need to know how much amount of air will be required to burn this amount of fuel. And to do that we need to know what is the amount of oxygen present per kg of air. So 1 kg of air contains 0.232 kg of oxygen. So this information is required to calculate the amount of air required to burn 1 kg of fuel, where the fuel is C8H18, chemical formula is C8H18. So from there now I can calculate what is the kg of air by per kg of fuel, that will be equal to 3.509 divided by 0.232, and that is equal to 15.12. So this 15.12 is the called air fuel ratio, that is chemically correct or stoichiometric air fuel ratio is 15.12. This is for a fuel whose chemical formula is C8H18. This is for a fuel whose chemical formula is C8H18, that is butane. So from a combustion reaction we have calculated how much amount of oxygen required to burn 1 kg of fuel, then we have calculated how much amount of air required to supply that much amount of oxygen which is required to burn per kg of fuel, and from there we have calculated air fuel ratio, that is this is for C8H18, that is 15.12. So the fuel air ratio will be 1 upon 15.12, that will be the fuel air ratio. Now there is a combustion range. It is very important that there is particular range of fuel air ratio for which or below above no combustion will occur. So there will be a combustion range for which, maybe as I said you that it should always operate, it is always better to supply chemically correct air fuel ratio or stoichiometric air fuel ratio, but it is not always possible to supply chemically correct air fuel ratio or stoichiometric air fuel ratio, but there is a combustion range in which the engine should operate. But if the supplied air fuel ratio, rather fuel air ratio is beyond that particular combustion range, then no combustion will occur. So there is a combustion range, and of fuel air ratio for which or below, so there is a combustion range, I am writing there is a combustion range, there is a combustion range of fuel air ratio or air fuel ratio, and below or above for which air fuel air ratio for which combustion will occur, below or above that ratio, no combustion will occur. That means it is always better to supply chemically correct air fuel ratio, but it is not possible to supply chemically correct fuel ratio all time, depending upon the function of carburetor, because if you keep on using carburetor will start malfunctioning. So it is not always possible that it will supply chemically correct air fuel ratio. It also depends upon the composition of fuel, and also depends upon the oxygen present in the air, and it also depends so many other things. But there is a combustion range of fuel air ratio for which combustion will occur, but if we supply chemically or if we supply air fuel ratio either below or above that combustion range, then no combustion will occur. So that is why for this particular fuel, that is what we have taken to carry out to calculate the chemically correct air fuel ratio, that is butane, and for that it is experimentally observed that the if we now write the range of combustion, so maybe 15.12 is the, this is air fuel ratio, 15.8 is the stoichiometric or chemically correct air fuel ratio, but it will operate between, so it will operate, so this is 20 and this is 8. So this is combustion range for this particular fuel, combustion range for this particular fuel is less than 10, greater than 8. So air fuel mixture, so air fuel ratio for this particular fuel combustion range is within 8 and 20. If it is less than 8, then but again I am telling, if to reach if it is less than 8, then this is to reach mixture, to reach a mixture to sustain flame, again if it is more than 20, this is too lean mixture, too lean a mixture to sustain the combustion, right. And if it is greater than 15.12 and up to 20 or more than 20, then excess air is present. So in this region, if it is greater than, air fuel mixture is greater than 15.12, then this is excess air is present, but if it is less than 15.12 and it becomes closer to 8 or even less than 8, then excess fuel is present, So chemically correct air fuel ratio is 15.12. If it becomes less than 15.12, then excess fuel is present. If it becomes higher than 15.12, excess air is present. Whatever it is, whatever may be the case, but the combustible range in between 8 and 20. If it becomes higher than 20, then mixture is too lean to sustain the combustion. If it is less than 8, then mixture is too rich with the fuel and the flame should not sustain. Flame might develop, but it won't be propagate. Immediately after development, it will be extinguished. So this is the combustible range for this particular fuel, butane. That problem for that we have calculated stoichiometric air fuel ratio. So that means the engine requirement must not go to either too lean or too rich. That means from here I can write the engine requirement must not go to either in too lean or too rich zone, right. Its engine requirement should not or must not go either too lean in too rich zone. It will be within the combustible range, then only combustion will occur. If it goes either in too rich or too lean zone, combustion will not occur. So what is lean mixture? So there I have written the lean mixture and rich mixture. What is lean mixture? Mixture which contains more air than stoichiometric ratio. So lean mixture, the mixture which contains more air than stoichiometric, ratio, stoichiometric requirement. And rich mixture, this is also important, mixture which contains more fuel or less air, that is less air than stoichiometric requirement. This is very important. So if it is rich mixture, mixture is not essentially stoichiometric, but it will contain more or less, so less air. If it is lean mixture, it will contain more air than the stoichiometric requirement. So, if we use fuel C8H18, we have calculated stoichiometric ratio and it is found to be 15.12. So, it should be always operate, and we have calculated, it is experimentally obtained data that the combustible range for this particular fuel is 8 to 20. So, the engine should operate between this range. If the engine requirements falls either below or above that requirement, then combustion will not occur. So, it should be always operate between the zone of 8 and 20, but not exactly at the correct stoichiometric air fuel ratio, which is that it should always operate within the combustible range. Maybe if we use fuel, it is not necessary that engine has to operate in a load condition for which we need to supply chemically correct air fuel ratio. It would be better if we supply, but as I said you that the chemically correct air fuel ratio changes depending upon the load, whatever may be the load that demanded by the engine, but the air fuel ratio that we need to supply if we use fuel, that is 8 to 20. If it goes more than 20, mixture is too lean to sustain combustion. If it is less than 80, mixture is too rich, that is less amount of air is present in than the stoichiometric requirement, and flame should not sustain. So, this is the case. So, if I write, if there is a more fuel, so more fuel, if there is more fuel, if there is more fuel, then heat generated due to combustion will be taken out by the excess fuel. Heat generated, more fuel, that means less air, more heat generated by the due to combustion will be taken away by the excess fuel and the combustion will not sustain. So, if it is more fuel, that is less amount of air, that is too rich mixture, heat generated by the combustion will be taken away by the excess fuel and combustion will not sustain. If the air fuel ratio has much concentration of air, that means if the air fuel mixture or ratio has much concentration of air, then although fuel is although fuel acts chemically, because fuel will get sufficient amount of oxygen, the required amount of oxygen. If we have less amount of air, then fuel is not getting sufficient, or the required amount of oxygen to have chemically correct reaction. But if we have much concentration of air in the air fuel mixture, then maybe although the fuel is getting chemically correct, rather correct amount or other required amount of air to have a chemically correct combustion, other stoichiometric fuel will get required amount of oxygen from that air to have a proper combustion following the stoichiometric ratio. But the question is, heat generated is dissipated by the air present in excess. But if the air fuel mixture has mass concentration of air, that is what I was discussing, that although the fuel acts chemically due to the exact or chemically correct due to the required which is due to the availability of required amount of oxygen, but the heat generated due to combustion is dissipated by the air present in excess, and as a result combustion will not occur. combustion will not occur. So, we have seen that if we have less amount of air or high amount of fuel, heat developed or heat generated due to combustion will be taken out by the excess fuel and flame or combustion will not sustain, flame won't sustain, while if the air fuel ratio is having, air fuel mixture is having much amount of air, then although the fuel will act chemically due to the availability of required amount of oxygen, but heat developed due to combustion or heat generated due to combustion will be dissipated due to the air present in excess, and as a result combustion will not sustain. So, that is why engine should operate between the combustible range, and that is what I was discussing a few minutes back. And if the requirement of engine is such that the chemically correct, or the air fuel ratio goes either above or below that that combustible range, then combustion should not occur. Fine. So, in a SI engine, the liquid fuel and air are generally mixed prior to the, as I said you that in a SI engine liquid air fuel and liquid fuel and air are mixed generally before it goes to the engine cylinder, and the process is carried out by by a device I call carburetor. So, carburetor is a device which allow the homogeneous or homogeneous mixture of air and fuel before it goes to the engine cylinder. That means, in a SI engine we are supplying air fuel mixture together, liquid fuel plus air is allowed to mixed before it goes to the engine cylinder, and this process is carried out by a device which is known as carburetor. And in fact, engine need not be necessarily run, as I said you that it is not mandatory that engine should always run taking a stoichiometric air fuel ratio, but the fuel and air ratio supplied the engine depends upon the load and also the power requirement. It is not mandatory that if we need to supply always chemically correct air fuel ratio. Depending upon the load, it may varies, but always it will be within the combustible range, otherwise combustion should not sustain. Depending upon the fuel requirement of the engine, total engine operation can be divided into three regimes. A fuel ratio requirement of the engine. Now we will briefly discuss today that fuel air ratio or air fuel ratio, that is the reciprocal of fuel air ratio. Fuel air ratio requirement of the engine. That means we need to, it is not necessary that we should always supply chemically correct air fuel ratio or stoichiometric air fuel ratio, rather engine should run with a chemically correct air fuel ratio, that means, or fuel air ratio. It depends upon the load. So, fuel air ratio requirement of the engine. So, the total engine requirement can be divided into three regimes, that depends upon the load. The total engine operation can be divided into three regimes. Into three zones, that depending upon the load. So, what are those three zones? Number one, idling zone. In this zone, throttle valve, which is provided to control the air fuel ratio depending upon the load, throttle valve is almost closed, but not fully closed, right, and fully closed, because in idling zone engine is running but without supplying load. That means idling zone is a zone where throttle valve is almost closed but not totally. We need to supply air fuel ratio because engine is still running, without supplying load. So, we are not getting any load from the engine is still running, for that we need to supply air fuel ratio, and this is known as idling zone. Engine is in ideal condition, and in that zone throttle valve is almost closed but not totally. Then is called cruising zone. This is very important zone, cruising zone. In this zone, engine will operate most of the time at cruising zone. Engine will operate most of the time in this zone. And number 3 is power zone. Power zone, that when load of the engine is very high, So, engine most of the time should operate in the cruising zone. Idling zone is engine is supplying no load, so throttle valve is almost closed, not totally, and power zone is a zone when load of the engine is very high. So, the total engine operation can be divided into these 3 regions. Whatever may be the fuel we are using to run a particular engine, depending upon these 3 zones, requirement of fuel air ratio varies. In most of the time, the fuel air ratio, the requirement of fuel air ratio or air fuel ratio is very less, is in cruising zone. It is also high in idling zone and in the power zones. So, fuel air ratio requirement is very high in the idling and power zones, while it is almost constant and relatively lesser as compared to other zones in the cruising zone. We will discuss that aspect if we even take up that particular example butane as a fuel, and then what will be the fuel air requirement during idling zone and cruising zone and power zone, and we will explain why the requirement of fuel air ratio or air fuel ratio is high in idling and power zones, while in cruising zone is almost constant, while most of the time engine is running at a cruising zone. So, with this I stop here today, and I will continue my discussion in the next class. Thank you.